Hey everyone, Tom here with another video. Today we're going to be talking about the latest stock market news that's moving the markets right now. We'll also be taking a look at our technical analysis levels together for the S&P 500, Nasdaq, dollar index, Bitcoin, gold, silver, and more to try to find out what's happening next. But for the last 24 hours, and in fact the last 2 weeks, it's all been about pot stocks. So is there more left in these or isn't there? Let's take a look together right now. Stay tuned. One of the best places we can always start when we're talking about the stock market to get an idea of what's going on is by having a look at the heat map. You'll notice yesterday, Nvidia up 3.51%. We were talking about this now for the last kind of week on our live streams. If you haven't been joining our live streams, definitely consider subscribing and hitting that like button and come and join us because it's been a lot of fun. We will be live streaming Friday session open as well this week. So join us 10:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. It's about 3 hours before the market opens. Let's have a look now also at a few other things. Cisco and Tesla were the stories yesterday. So Cisco had earnings report. Now, if you go back through history on the chart, you'll notice Cisco continues to fail meeting its expectations. It has hype and optimism into earnings. Earnings come out and it goes down. Learn from how things usually report, and then you'll have a better chance of making the right decision coming into report processes. We also saw Tesla come down 5.25%, and this is back into support at around $800. Yesterday, the market here declined instantly, came off that trend line we'll be talking about very soon, and that trend line's been incredibly solid. Now do we start to see a bit more of a decline in the S&P 500 back down to that 20 moving average? Of course, the next couple of days will tell, but we did see a recovery after that point and a little bit of selling into the close. Remember, the close is generally the key. So if the market is selling into the close, that shows more of Wall Street's true intentions for the day. Energy sector continues to be the best outperformance. We also have the financial sector continuing to do relatively well. Real estate coming back up and some others. Things like utilities were also up slightly here. And utilities generally only goes up if people are starting to hedge positions. So utilities is generally more of a end of bull cycle kind of thing. Just remember, if you do start to see that running heavily, it can, and the market's still high, it can mean to some kind of correction coming. So the last 24 hours, the last 2 weeks has all been about pot stocks. And now it looks like Reddit's on pot stocks heavily. People are moving. Sundial, SNDL has been one that a lot of people have been trading. But for me, it's all been about TLRY. And TLRY has done amazingly well. But I will caution everyone into this craze. Again, marijuana stocks do really well over time, as in they go crazy when they go crazy, and then they tend to dump. So have a look at the old charts for things like TLRY and others, ACB, etc. And you can see what can happen if you get the timing wrong. Another thing that makes me think that we're getting towards possibly some timing problems is we're starting to see high net debt to equity companies really outperforming blue chip companies. Blue chips have already done very well for some time, but high net debt is now becoming, or trash stocks are now becoming the literal vehicle of choice for profits. And that means that we're usually close to a correction. Why is that? Because whenever I've seen trash stocks going hard, it can be 2 months, it can be 3 months, but it does show a sign that a correction is coming. And that comes into, of course, our technical analysis. The VIX, the volatility index, guys, our 20 got reached. The great support, the literal hold the wall, HODOR area. 20 just continues to hold the VIX or volatility index. We see it moved up yesterday. It went as high as 23.9, ended with a 22. This was coupled, of course, with that shock in the market where it did decline early session. And I do believe that this is always the line where we're going to probably find volatility come back into the market. As soon as we close underneath 20, things go back more to a normalized market. Right now, they certainly aren't, and we're above that zone. Dollar index, what's happening here? Well, we've seen the weekly come off, of course, that 20 moving average. We go down into the daily. We go down to the smaller time frames. What's happening? Very sharp decline here from non-farm payrolls last week. Go into the 4 hour, we're starting to form a little bit of base. Notice how here we've got a few rejection candles. We're starting to form a little bit of a base. This is one of those ones I'd go down to something like a 2 hour or 1 hour to try to find out if there's any more patterns or analysis we can see. And for me, it's going to be something like we have some resistance here around this 90-50 zone. If we break through that, What do I expect? I really just expect us to go back on the 4-hour to the 20 moving average, which was the previous resistance, find some resistance there and potentially continue with the downward trend now. But something like this does make some sense. And this would also lean into a lot of the ideas that we have to do with the euro and other pairs or currencies at the moment. The dollar has declined quite strongly and usually needs a bit of a breather to come back up before its next move down. It's like that 2 steps down, 1 step back approach. Bitcoin also been on a massive run, couple of flash crashes yesterday. Let's go down to the 1 hour to show you what's been happening. We saw that flash. That was followed by actually a further pullback. It came back to the roll reversal around this 44,000 and found some buying pressure. And look where it stopped here, guys. Literally right on previous support, becoming resistance around that 45,000. If it breaks through here again, where do we go? We go back to 46. And then, of course, if it gets through there, we go back to these previous highs. And then we start to put pressure on getting towards the 50. But if it continues its decline here, I could see a lot of what was put on recently kind of getting wiped out and us to go back down to the 42,000 and find support there, previous highs before the breakout. This was an incredible breakout and a lot of money is moving out of Bitcoin right now and into the altcoins. So just remember that's something that we need to consider. Bitcoin often has a run, has a decline while it consolidates, money comes out, goes into the altcoins, and then Bitcoin has its next run. I wouldn't be too concerned about it, but that's certainly something that is happening. Let's have a look at the daily here on gold. Things continue to kind of like sledge higher slowly. We see the 20 moving average here holding it down, and the 50's held it recently. So a break of this high signals back to the 1870 for us. We go down to something like the 4-hour, guys. We have a look here. Look at these moving averages just holding this little beastie up. Lots of wick rejections, which shows us that there's accumulation in the markets at these levels. And things are looking okay for gold. We get a break of this high again. We start to move towards the 1870. Any break of 1870, I'm really thinking 1900 at that level. And if we get back under the 1830 here, we just basically see a pretty fast decline, I would think, back down to these levels. It's all about finding support here for gold right now and whether it can do so. Silver, a little bit different. So silver actually has a bad shooting star style candle on it, followed by another bearish candle. But if we go into the 4-hour, what are we seeing? Not really great stuff. I would have hoped that silver would have held above the 27, and it is above the 27 at the time of this recording. Basically, this is the point that you do not want to see silver get underneath and hold underneath for too long. Any movement here is going to be good. We need to go in and have a look at structure. Like platinum, platinum just continuously goes up. We'll have a look at that in a minute. But these kind of candles here, we need to get back above those. For any silver bulls, we cannot have it too long underneath this 2710 area. And if it continues to hold under here, I would say we're going back into the 26s, possibly low 26s. For now, silver's pretty muddied. I'm going to look at things like gold to give us a bit more direction and then follow silver, if that's my choice, through that time. You'll know that I'm a bit more bullish on silver as a percentage than gold over the next kind of medium term. Platinum's breakout was really amazing. This was a sick level. I love this level so much, guys. This is so good. So this is an ascending triangle on platinum. We saw it live in the stream. We watched it for quite some time. And basically, this was the extrapolation of what we expected. It's hit the take profit target. This was 2/3 of the way through the ascending triangle. It's hit it. It broke before the last third. That's what we teach in our course, which we do, of course, offer on fxevolution.com. I don't plug it often, but we do have it. And this is the type of setup that I just love to see work out. Great work on platinum. I'm sure a few of you had it. So what's our thoughts on the stock market right now? What's going on? Well, it turns out that we've hit the trend line. We hit it yesterday. Resistance, 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 resistance. Remember, loaded up on the SPX, not the US 500 that I'm using here. And it's very clean. This actual candle never existed on the real market. So this particular trend line has been very good. I don't use trend lines too often, but when I do, I believe in them quite a lot. And this particular pullback here should come down to the 20 moving average. Remember, we have a huge amount of supports on the 20 moving average previously. So I think this could be the beginning of a little bit of a decline here. Possibly the 38.60 is all we get. Previous resistances become support, but it does look like we're starting to see a little bit of movement in the markets. Check out this. That was actually a long leg doji yesterday, which shows indecision at these levels. We go down to the 1 hour and you'll see that the pull up was very severe, but it went straight into these two moving averages, the 50 and the 20, and now it's finding some resistance, and the potential is here we go up and then we start to come down. Any clear below this point here now is going to trigger further selling pressure as well. And I'd say it's going to be pretty wild if it does get through there. As soon as this correction comes in, it might look like a big candle. The bigger it is, the more chance actually we have of a big reversal back up, because whenever you see like if you see like a 5% down candle, not that we're going to get one, but if you ever do, there's actually a statistical chance the next day is going to be positive. And I think it's like 74% chance that it's going to be positive. So the bigger the candle sometimes doesn't mean the further the crash after that. It can be just that it's a trap. So at this stage, we're not talking those candles. We're just talking a bit of a decline here back to the 20. US 100, QQQ, Nasdaq, whatever you want to call it. This potentially is looking at the rollover as well. We saw it come down quite a big 1 hour candle here, 2050, finding resistance. If we find ourselves here or lower in the morning, I expect more declines back to, of course, 20 moving averages. And I'll be looking at the SP 500 to give me the best kind of level. But yeah, the Nasdaq, look at this, 20, 20, 20, 20. That's the aim now for a bit of a corrective path after what has been a very nice couple of weeks. If you haven't already, definitely consider following us on TradingView. I'm posting little snippets here about currencies, commodities, stocks, Bitcoin, everything. So definitely follow us. We're already up to 460 followers thanks to you guys' support. And we will be again live streaming Friday, 10:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. I'll announce it and set it scheduled in the channel. So if you enjoy this stuff, make sure you subscribe, hit that like button, guys, and we'll see you soon in another live stream or another video. Bye for now.